Well, this is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. And this shir that I'm saying today is on the fifth day, Parshas Vayeitzei. It's a day of Hod. This is the final day of the spread of the Chasadim and the Gevuros, Zer Anpin. So here we're starting this Zohar, and the Zohar really needs a lot of background, some of which we have, some of which we maybe don't have. So I'll try to explain it as best I can, and I'm going to try to also make a little drawing. So let's go over to my blank piece of paper, and I'm going to lift it up a little bit so you can get a better view. Let's understand that if we had, this was Zer Anpin. This column right here represents Zer Anpin. We understand in relation to the Zer Anpin, he has two wives. One is called Rachel. Okay, Zer Anpin could also be called Yaakov. Now, in the way that the Zohar works and the way the Reed explains things, there are lots of different looks at these things, but the basic idea is that Rachel is here in relation to Zer Anpin, and we'll just put a big L here, and Leah is here in relation to Zer Anpin. Now, this line right here, let's say, is the chest of Zer Anpin. So Rachel is from the chest of Zer Anpin going down all the way to the bottom, called the Karka of Etzilus, because we're talking about Olam Etzilus here. And Leah is from the chest and up above. That's where she is. This is all the female element of Yaakov. And please excuse the fact that there's one thing that I am not, and that's an artist. So what we're talking about is he marries two women, right? So to be able to understand what's going on here, the Zohar starts to explain. You can understand it's two women. I didn't finish this. Okay, let me get this together instead. The Mochin come in from, let's say the Mochin come in, the Penimius, from the Nai of Ima. They come into Zer Anpin. And Zer Anpin, basically, they extend, there's an Ataras of Yesod that extends all the way down to the chest of Zer Anpin, this chaza that we were talking about. Now, excuse the drawings, or try to find along with me as best you can. This actually enters into Zer Anpin and deposits the chasadim and the gevuros at his chest. The question is that once they reach this area, they stop. They don't go any further. This is the yesod of the atar, called the ataras yesod of Ima. And place called the chazer, and then it opens up, and all the chasadim and the gevuros come out into this lower section for the chazer lamata, and Yaakov has on his side Rachel. She's right there with him down below. All of those mochin wind up being revealed in this area. But since the opening is here at the chazer, all of the area up above where Leah is located is called the situm, or they're going to different words here. We're going to see the closed up area where Yaakov really doesn't have a relationship with it because there's no gilui. So here the chasadim and gevuros are in what is called the gilui. They're gilui. They're in this area called the gilui, which is going down like this. And this other called the situm. Okay, now we're going to see what the Zohar says and what the Rob brings into us, and I'll try to bring that drawing back if I can help. It says now, Kedei lachavein maimer rabah, in order to be able to understand this maimer, Bekitzer Masha says that we're going to copy what the Rob said, that is the Rizal, what he said. And we're going to come over here on the other side of the parenthesis, and we're going to read like this. V'zel l'shonu, noida, ki Rachel makoma min the Zer Anpin ulamata. The place for Rachel, once again, is from the chest. This is the chest. We'll translate it in English. That's my best language anyway. The chest is Zer Anpin going downwards. That's where Rachel is located. So this is a spiritual entity represented by our mother Rachel. The Lamata, going downwards. V'lechein kasiv v'ye'ahev Yaakov es Rachel. Hanikras alma de'izgalia k'neidet. Because therefore, Yaakov knows Rachel. He saw Rachel. He knows what she's like because she lives in the area where the chasadim and the gevuros are revealed. so he could see her, what her elements are, what she's like. So this is known. So he said, Gilui ha'oros, because the revelation of the lights inside of the body of Zeir Anpin, hey min achaz of the lamata, they come from the chest going downwards, which is what we have said. Sham nigbar yisod the ima, that is where the yisod of ima ends. Aval Leah, but not so therefore, everything inside of the yisod of ima, it's like this is a pipeline, it ended, and it has nothing to stop it, and everything pours out. So this is the area from the chest downwards. That's the first wife, that's the wife that Yaakov sought, Rachel. He knew her, he wanted her. Aval Leah, but how about Leah? He mikaneged achaz of the lamala, but she's in a different place. She's from the chest going upwards. Ki shama oros he mechusim, because in that place, then the lights are still hidden. They're still in the pipeline, so to speak. They're covered over. V'lechein nikras alma diskasia. So therefore, Leah is called by the name the world of being covered over. And remember that the word olam is really from the word helam, which means hiddenness. So she's like a hidden of hiddennesses. So he said, V'zeh shekasa b'sefer Zohar, the Zohar writes like this, in Parsha Vayeitzei, V'zeh l'shono, Tol chazi, b'shata the Yaakov palach le sheva shenin, kadmoin. So we're back with the family. Yaakov is working hard 7 years, and what does he have in mind? This is the first time he did the 7 years. Nafik kala, a voice came out, V'omer min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam, and it says from one world to the next. Now here's what we're talking about. Olam is the concept of hiddenness. So when it says there are other olamos, it means there are other things hidden from us. Hidden inside of hiddennesses, inside of hiddennesses. V'ad olam, so that's min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam. Olam sasim. So he's talking about there is a closed up hiddenness world, the feminine that he is looking for, the female she's looking for, the la'el. So the la'el, excuse me, there is oila sasim de la'ela. There is a world, a hiddenness which is closed up above Yaakov. Yovla, it's called the Yovel. Okay, now I got to think about this. It's called the Yovel. But before that we got to this, it said like this, Tochazi, come and see, but call Aser, every place where you see the word Yovla, it means sasim, v'lo yizgalya. It means it's closed up and it's not revealed. The Shemitah is galya. But on the other hand, the 7 years, instead of 50 years and 7 years, that is revealed. Hare de is alma de iskasia, v'alma de isgalya. So therefore we understand there's an aspect of the hidden worlds, one revealed and one is not. Makom hispashtos Leah, so the place where Leah is located. Again, forgive the drawing, it's crude like crazy, but if we had a Yaakov that was in this column right here, he would have 2 wives, it would be Leah and Rachel. This part is where all the revelation of what's inside of the Yesod of Ima comes out, and they're taken by Rachel, and Rachel, as a result of that, is known to Zeir Anpin. But what about this part? This part is still, let's say, make a little extension here, still the pipeline, which ends right here. That's Keneged Leah, which is hidden and closed. So Zehu Shir Zion Spheres to Zeir Anpin. So let me go back. Vihine Makom Hispashtos Leah. So where is Leah? It's the measurement of 7 spheres to Zeir Anpin. V'heim Keser, Chabad, and Chug, which is the Keser of Zeir Anpin. His Chesed, Bina, and Das, which is all of his head. And then his shoulders, which was Chesed and Gevura. V'shlish Elyon to Tiferes, and the upper third of Tiferes, which would be the chest, what we call the chest itself, is going upwards from the bottom of the chest, of the diaphragm, and then going upwards. That would be, all that would be part. These are the 7 parts that relate of Yaakov, that relate to Leah. He says, this is a Malkum Ispashtos Leah, who shear Zion spheres to Zeir Anpin, V'heim Keser, Chabad, and Chug, V'shlish Elyon to Tiferes. And it goes down to the Chaza, that's where it stops. Ve'edochem bebechinas Zion Shonim. These 7 spheros, again, Keser, Kachbad, was Keser, Chabad, and then Chesed and Gevurah, and 1/3, the upper third of Tiferes. That's all going to be in the side of Leah. She'avid Yaakov b'Leah. So this is the part where he starts from the top. Before he got to the Chazit, that's where he worked those 7 years for Leah. V'habik b'Iskasia, this is a thing was completely hidden from him. Iskasia b'mei, shuhu lo chashiv shehoya lekachas as Leah kenizka b'Zohar, because the Zohar explains he wasn't working for Leah. He didn't know about Leah. V'hu lefi she'az Yaakov lo choya masig sham. He was not able to reach the level of hiddenness, that's the right word, of Leah. V'lechein Leah choisa senua de Yaakov. So therefore, Yaakov, she was a hated part for Yaakov. Kilo hoya masi, because although he struggled with trying to understand what's going on with Leah, why did he get Leah? Why did he get Leah? He says hoya masig as bechinas, but he was not able during that period to really appreciate what Leah's all about. He couldn't reach her. Now let's look a little bit at the Zohar now. So the Zohar says like this. Let me get it lined up. It says, Amar Rebbe Abba Chachi Hu Vadai. This is really actually right, correct? Palach Sheva Shnin Liz Davga B'Shmita. So now these are the words that the Zohar is using. He worked 7 years in order to be able to make a yichud, in other words, to marry the Shemitah. What's the Shemitah? The 7 lower spheros. Came Hu Vadai Sheyakov Aved Zayin Shanim. And called to be completed with the 7 spheros of Zer Anpin, the Hisyached Acharkach Im Rachel. So after that, make a yichud with Rachel. Shehi sod Malchus, which Rachel is the secret of Malchus Shanikra Shemitah. In other words, for Malchus is Shemitah, Malchus is the 7th sphera, Shemitah is the 7 years. But Rebbe Elazar says like this. Most of all, he wants to add on to this thought, and he says like that. Tochazi, Bakol Asa Yovla Sasim Delo Isgalia. Wherever you have the concept of Yovel, a Yovel, I've seen other places it refers to Bina. So here, anytime he says you see the concept of Isgalia, of Yovel, it means an area that is not revealed, something hidden. It's beyond our ability to reach it. I'm a senior citizen, so 50 years from now is going to be something I won't reach. It's not in my purview. But 7 years from now, that is a possibility. So that's something big, it's megula to me. Let's see what the Matuk says. Become Makam Yovel, Shuhu Sod Leah, which is the secret of Leah, because she's the hidden part. And also, Leah is built, so let me see, if the Fishi Nivnes, for the second is Ma'acharayim, the Ima, because also she's related to Bina or to Vuna, depending on how you look at it. Anikras Yovel, which is called a Yovel. She is the Acharayim of the Acharayim of Bina. So therefore, she's on the back of the neck, and Bina would be in the front of the neck, so to speak. He's Stuma Ve'ena Megula. She is closed up, not revealed at all. The fish he omedes medachazet is Zer Anpin the Lamala, because where is she? She's from the chest of Zer Anpin and upwards. Shesham oros a chasadim stumi, because there the lights of the chasadim. Now lomem b'yisod the Ima are still hidden in the tube work that is in the yisod of Ima. Ushmita is Galia, but the lower 7, after he reaches the chest, then there's 7 steps. He wants to stay down below that, which is Zer Anpin himself, which in some ways is Zer Anpin. Shmita shehi sod Rachel, he megula, it's revealed. So Shmita is the secret of Malchus, of Rachel, and she's revealed the Shisho Medes Mechahaza Lamata, because where is she? She stands from the chest downward. Shesham Kvar Nizgalo Ores HaChasadim, because there you already have a revelation of the lights of the Chasadim. Now this is not particularly necessarily an easy concept, so ride easy with it, because the Zohar is beautiful. It says, V'shata de Yaakov Palak Shevish Nin Kadmoa. Come back, and he says like this. At the time that Yaakov was working those first 7 years, Ba'avarei B'sha Yaakov Gemar V'hishlim La'avod Shevish Shanim B'rishana B'shvil Rachel. So he's working the whole thing. He's once Rachel. Nafka Kala V'Amar, a voice came out that said like this, Yasabas Kol, an echo, an echo. Somehow it was heard. Kola min Shemayim came from the heaven, the Nachem as Yaakov, in order to comfort Yaakov. Al shenit stayer, so because of the fact that he was hurt, he was in pain. Sherima also Lavan, that Lavan tricked him. But Nasan law as Leah, and he gave him Leah instead. And then he said to him, Yaakov, he said, Yaakov, Lama atara misroim al Lavan. Why are you so angry and so upset about Lavan? Haloch berachel avadati. He said, because I was working for Rachel. So he says, Halo berachel avadati imachol. I was working with you for all this time. Lama remisani. Why did you trick me? Why did you do this? Tedeki me'iti yotza hadavar sheta'avod dekila avor Leah v'achar kach ta'avod avor Rachel. Let me read this again. It's a bad reading, so let me start it again. So he's having a conversation now, apparently, with Lavan. And it says, Lama ata masraim al Lavan. Why are you so angry at Lavan? That's what it says. Because look, I work for Rachel with you. He's talking about Lavan now. Lama Ramisani. So if I was working with you and you saw what I was doing, you knew what I did. So why did you trick me? So he's Teda. So he said, no. Me'iti yatzach. So really, it was me that caused all of this. Lavan said, Sheta'avo dekila avor Leah v'achar avor Rachel, and then after that, you could work for Rachel. Shakal Sheva Shanim Elu, and all these 7 years that we're talking about, Yis'alem Memachal Shehem Avor Leah. So they're not going to be counted up to you. They were hidden from you, because they were for the sake of the hidden part. That's the part of Leah. Shene'emer Baruch Hashem Elokem Elokei Yisrael, because it said Baruch Hashem, who is Elokem, the judge, Elokei Yisrael, the God of the Jews, Mina Olam Hainu. That is to say, what does he mean, Mina Olam? It's going to say Mina Olam, but the Olam, let's say he said, Mina Olam, Hainu, Techilot Sarach, Lahaskil L'Saken Es Olam Ha'elyon. So this is the lesson that he wants to say. This is the lesson. I don't know who's talking here, if it's Hashem talking or it's Lavan talking, but the Matuk says that this is a lesson that we all have to learn. That the first thing we have to do is we have to build and we have to set up and make it work properly. The Olam Elyon, Shuha Yovel, which is corresponding to the world beyond us, which is Bina. And we're dealing here with Leah, who's the backside of Bina. Olam Kasiv, and then it went to the other world. Then after you've done the first world, that is the world that's hidden, and you worked on your prayers, and you worked on your Torah, and you built up the flow, Ad Olam Atachton, then you could move to the Olam Atachton, which is where it's practically living in this world. So this is called Shemitah, L'Sachna, to fix that. Ki Olam Sasim de La'ela Yovlo, because the world is closed up and the top's called Yovel. Olam Asasim Shalomalochu Nikra Yovel Sod Leah, which is the secret of Leah. Mitamen Sherusa. So from there, we see its beginning. Shemisham Haschol Satikin Shal Spheres the Zer Anpin. This is where Zer Anpin really starts to become complete. Ilun Stimin de Lo Yizgal Yalong Min Yovelin. Elohim Spheres El Yonah Zer Anpin. Now we're talking about the head of Zer Anpin, the highest level of Zer Anpin. And there, Zer Anpin, once again, is normally a body. He's a body, it has a head-type body, but a body only for like a child. But actually that is a head only for a child. But if it can grow, and it can make a yichud with Rachel and Leah, but first it has to be with Leah. This is what he's saying. So he says, stumos, which are closed up, that are not revealed to you. Where are they coming from? They're coming from this place called Yovel, parts of Leah, and Lemes, which is the secret of the parts of Leah, which is hidden. Begin kach, so for this reason, is stima miyakov delo yod. So therefore it was closed off from Yaakov. And it became into a position where he couldn't know it. Let me see if I can get this a little bit easier to read. So he says, where am I? He says, "Shebezer am shehin stuma shelo nizgalo l'cha v'chein meyovel shu bebechinas parts of Leah hanel lemes begin kach istima b'Yaakov de lo yod." So this is the reason why it was closed up from Yaakov, that he didn't know it. V'chein nistimo hashanim arishanim. So therefore, the first 7 years, what was really going on over there was working for Leah, but Yaakov didn't know it, because it was an area that was called the area that is not isgalia, not revealed. Miyakol defi shalosh hisig adayim es asfiras alyonos dezer anpin, because he had reached that level. The hasha deha min shmita inun, because he thought these 7 years go along with the concept of shmita, which means rach. Shechashiv shehein min hashmita. Shmita is right out there where you can see it. Shehi sod rachel omedes mehachaza de zer anpin lamata, which was standing at the chaz of zer anpin going downwards. Ves ze hesig kavar Yaakov. So this is something that Yaakov already understood. B'chein chashiv shebarachel aved es hazayin shanim and rishonim. So this is the reason why he thought that he was really working the first 7 years. Begin the Ya'aved sherusim me'olam de la'ela. So that he should work at the beginning, Keneged Olam Elyona, corresponding to the hidden world up above, Shu saw some closed up, who sowed Leah Lemes, which is the secret of Leah, who is hidden. So therefore it's hidden from him. He doesn't know that he's working for Leah. So he says, the first 7 years, what was going on there, he didn't know. He was hidden from him. That he didn't know that he was working for that upper level, which he had not achieved yet himself, which is Leah. Begin the Yovla Ihi. He says, Ihu, Sausim, because it's Yovel. It's the concept of Bina, the world beyond. The sheyovel hu sasam shuhu bebechinas Leah. Well, the boss is the of avro shnei yovela. So after the days, the years of the yovel passed, v'achasha avro shnei hayovel hamechuso. So that means the area of Leah, which is covered. Avad shnei shmita disgalion. Then he went into the other side. He works for the years of the Shemitah, which is the 7 years, which refers to Rachel. Aved keneged sheva shnei Shemitah, haniglo shehem keneged zayin spheros shal Rachel, which is the 7 spheros of Rachel. That is the 7 spheros of Zer Anpin that refer to Rachel. He said, "Ve'is avar betrin almin v'achid lo." So he says, I read that wrong. It's this ater. She is crowned then with two worlds, 2 hidden worlds, v'achid lon, and joins together them. V'nisater Yaakov's and Yaakov. Yaakov becomes crowned, which is Tiferes. Yaakov represents Tiferes. B'shnei olamos, with the 2 olamos. The Leah, which is the part which was in the chaz going upwards, the part that he was closed and didn't know. Rachel, and also Rachel, which is the part that's in the Gilui, where it's seen and known and understood, the Nisyached Imahem, and he is able to make a yichud with them. And this is Baruch Fleischman, the final shir today, the shir for the day of Hod in Parshas Vayeitzei. Thank you very much for learning with me.